I feel good. Training camp was great. Trained with some of the best people in the world. I helped some of my friends get ready for their fights. So, training camp was perfect. Can't complain about anything. Healthy, ready to get in there and do the thing.
Obviously, you're probably feeling a little bit different this week than a couple months ago when suddenly you were fighting 10 pounds higher than you thought you were going to fight. How has that process been this time around that you're back to normal?
This process is good, man. My weight's good. I'm working with perfecting athletes. They got my weight on point. I feel great. I'm just ready to get in there and do it.
What was that process like for you back in December, I guess it was, right? When suddenly you find out he's not going to make weight, they're going to push it up another 10 pounds. What was going through your head at that point, and how do you keep from getting flustered? Because I know you expressed at the time some frustrations that you were maybe being punished a little bit.
My coaches told me, hey, man, there's nothing you can do about it. It's either you fight or you don't fight. You get paid or you don't get paid, basically. And I was like, all right, my game plan wasn't going to change. So basically I just got to eat more and, just stay focused. I was upset. Kind of still am. They still haven't given me any answers. CSAC doesn't give me no answers. But, can't do anything about it now.
How do you take a situation like that and use it sort of as something to grow off of going forward? Because you're still young in your career, so that's a lot of adversity to throw at you that you weren't expecting to happen while you're already dealing with being in your first UFC fight and sort of all the changes that go along with that and the pressure that goes along with that. So how do you use that to work for your advantage going forward?
For me, a big thing, I've had people miss weight before. To me, it's just a sign that they've had a bad camp, something didn't go right. So it kind of doesn't really, mess with me too much. I was just more upset that they told me last minute. It's not like they didn't know how much you weighed. They were trying to do this system, they're supposed to contact you a month out, then a couple weeks out, and obviously they weren't doing their job because they contacted me and I was fine. They were saying that I was too heavy, but I was only actually half a pound heavy from what I was supposed to weigh in at, on Tuesday. So I said it wasn't a big deal for me. I was pretty upset just because it was unprofessional. It wasn't a UFC, it was more a CSAC. They didn't give me no warning. They just oh, you guys are fighting at 135 now. I'm like, you guys could have told me that at the beginning of the week or a couple of weeks ago. I could have put on some muscle, ate a little bit more, but it is what it is. I'm just happy I got the win.
You did get the win. Obviously, you looked really good in doing so. This is a fast turnaround for you, though, too. It's about 10 weeks since that fight. Is that kind of how you want to roll as you go forth in your UFC career? Because you don't see that quick of turnarounds that often at this level.
Yeah, I stay ready. I go back as soon as my fight's over. I'm back in the gym Monday. Depending on how beat up I am. When I was fighting locally, I was fighting every other month if I could. One time I fought 3 times in 4 months. So I like to stay active. I'm always ready. If it's a 35 or 25 pound fight, I'm always in striking distance to make weight, and I just want to stay active as much as possible.
Talk about that first one in the UFC. Obviously, you had the Contender Series performance that got you there, and that was fantastic. But obviously, walking out in a big arena is a lot different than walking out when you've got Dana White and those guys looking at you in a UFC gym. Were there jitters? Was there nerves that went along with it? What was the feeling like on fight night?
I was pretty comfortable. I was at home basically. 45 minutes away from my hometown, and my friends and family were there. I remember just walking out. I couldn't even hear my music. It was so loud for me. I got in the ring and I was walking back and forth, and then I just remember hearing my mom yell. It's like, man, I can hear you. Sheesh, from all the years of her yelling at me, and I got to hear her. So it was a good experience. Got to see my friends, family. Not too many people can say they had a UFC debut in their backyard, and that's something I will never forget.
Now you're on the other side of the country, of course, but you've got that experience of that first UFC fight under your belt. So how much more comfortable have you been this week? Kind of what it's like to come in and have to sign posters and get photos taken and get measured for gloves and all that stuff. Has it been a lot easier this week going through that stuff?
It's always been easier for me because, I've helped corner some UFC guys before, like Joe Soto and Carla Esparza. Carla takes me as her beat-up dummy, so same thing with Joe, So I got to see already the behind-the-scenes stuff, the posters, the gloves, the fight kit, everything. The only difference between that it's me doing it now, So I'm pretty prepared for that stuff. I've been in a couple UFC fights before I was in here, so it felt normal to me.
This was a fight that I think you were kind of targeting, and you had mentioned his name before after your last fight. Why was that, and was there something about him in particular that made you want to fight him?
No, I've said two names, like Mashinow and Eric Shelton. Not out of disrespect, I just think they're good fighters. And I want to move up this division fast, and I want to fight the best guys in my weight. And I think those two guys are some of the best guys in my weight. Even if they're not ranked or not. I know I can't go out there and ask for, a ranked top 5 opponent right off the back. So I was like, hey, these two guys are coming off wins. They're good fights. I think they're probably top 20 in the weight, and a good fight, a good win over them, can put me up there. So it wasn't nothing disrespectful on my part. I just said, hey, I would like to fight these two guys. It doesn't matter where or when. I'm always ready, and yeah.
So you're looking at experience level and kind of how the matchup works for you and things like that, and being realistic about it, I think.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it like, okay, I can't call out a top 5 guy, can't call out a top 10 guy. I'm 1-0 in the UFC. These guys are coming off wins. Everyone knows who they are. They're both good, so why not? Why not take a shot at them? Like I said, it was nothing disrespectful on my part.
Sure.
If they took it that way, that's not the way I meant it. I'm not a guy to talk smack. I'm just here to do my job, come in and fight, and those are two guys I felt at the time were the best guys for me to fight.
Talk about a little bit about what he brings to the table, and obviously he has a couple losses, but they were close fights, and what do you think about the matchup overall?
I think the matchup's good. I think the matchup really good. He's quick, he's well-rounded, a lot of people don't know, but he has a really good ground game. He's very active off his back. I think we match up great. I think we're both exciting fighters. I think we both come in shape to fight. I think this fight could be fight of the night.
Do you have plans for the rest of the night? You get to fight a little bit early on the show, and then you got like 10 fights that you get to go out there and watch right afterwards. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. I actually like being one of the first fights because then I can enjoy a little bit more of the day or the night when my family's coming out, so I get to go see them a little bit. They're staying out here for a couple of days, going to Disney World. I'm going back home Sunday. We got other fights coming up. I'm gonna help my teammates get ready for their fights. So it just it's fun getting in and out, and being able to hang out with my family, being able to eat more. That's the one I'm really looking forward to.
You're skipping Disney World?
Yeah, I'm skipping Disney World. I gotta go back and.
You can eat good there, man.
I got a lot
those
of
turkey legs. Have you seen those turkey legs?
I got a lot of fights that our team has a lot of fights coming up. A lot of big fights and guys in the local scene, and I really believe like they help me for mine, so I gotta help them with theirs. Even if I'm beat up, like I can go in there and help them somewhere.
Sure. You're in a division that a lot of people feel like is a little bit short on contenders since DJ has kind of beat just about everybody there at the top. But can that work to your advantage? I mean, do you set your goals? How far out do you set your goals? I mean, do you sit there and go, man, three or four wins, and we've seen guys get title shots in this division?
I got long-term goals and short-term goals. One of my long-term goals obviously is to be the UFC champion at this weight. Short-term goals, I just take it fight at a time. Like the fight in front of me, that's the fight I want. After this fight, I'm gonna look at the next fight. That's my next goal. It's not I'm gonna look at 4 or 5 fights in front of me because then everything gets cloudy in the way. Just one fight at a time. The best way to take it. If you look too far ahead, you never know what's gonna happen.
The what you've shown the fans at the highest level of the sport so far is that you got one particular choke that you love to do. That right? That's 2 for 2 on the Contender Series plus in the UFC. Is that what we can expect out of you on Saturday night? Is that how you'd like to get it done again?
Whatever the finish comes, I'm not a guy going there. Oh, I'm only gonna do this choke. I'm only gonna do this. Those just happened. I felt them. They just came in. And that was it. It wasn't like, oh, this is how I'm gonna finish. It's not like I looked at tape and watched what this guy does. It just happened to be there, and I took advantage of it. I don't train. I'm not gonna train for something and then have the person do something different and freak out about it. I'm just gonna train, and hey, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, then I'm gonna move on to something else.
Kind of cool to be the anaconda guy, though, right?
Yeah. It's not bad.